What's up, everyone? This is episode 28 of 300 Club Podcast. My name is Gil. This is Cover.
What's going on, everybody?
We back with another installment, a quick little update, having some chat or some conversations. What are we covering today, Cover?
All right, so we got a couple of interesting topics that we did not get to at a previous episode, but we want to go ahead and follow up. Being that MLB news is a little bit slow right now, but we wanted to highlight the impact that Francisco Lindor has had this year and why he might have been snubbed out of these awards, which we thought he could have gotten a little bit, more love in. Also, in comparison to Derek Jeter, as we know now, the 300 Club podcast is a Yankees and Mets and general baseball discussion podcast. I
Yeah,
represent the Yankees fandom, and Gilbert represents the Mets fandom. But this graphic that I found is actually pretty interesting. And as much as I love Derek Jeter, I think this graphic can show the viewers and other people, that, we got to give the respect where it's due. We like to
yeah,
show love here on the 300 Club podcast. So, through the first approximately a little bit over 1,200 games in terms of WAR comparisons of Francisco Lindor and Derek Jeter. Francisco Lindor actually has a higher WAR than him. Derek Jeter has more games played, more hits. But in this category, which I thought was very interesting, is the fact that Francisco Lindor has almost a little bit short of twice as many home runs as Derek Jeter. But in terms of RBIs, they're not overly close, but relatively pretty close. Derek Jeter leads in stolen bases and batting average and on base percentage as well. But Francisco Lindor he does pretty good with the slugging. In terms of OPS, Derek Jeter is still amongst out higher than Francisco Lindor. And in terms of OPS plus, very, very, very tied. But Derek Jeter takes the cake on that. As of right now, Derek Jeter is a Hall of Famer. I think it's fair to say that Francisco Lindor is definitely on his way. Derek Jeter has had championships. That's not something that Francisco Lindor can solely control himself. All-star appearances, they're pretty much tied at this moment. Gold Gloves, we have Francisco Lindor, who I think should have more Gold Gloves than just that too, and I think that he should have more in the future. Silver Sluggers, so Francisco Lindor has three. And in terms of World Series MVP, well, as of right now, Derek Jeter out of the two is the only one to reach the World Series. I just thought this was a very interesting graphic. A lot of people like to compare the two totally different styles, but I thought it was something that I wanted to bring upon the viewers. First impressions on this graphic. What do you see? What are your thoughts?
the OPS plus, I think it's pretty similar. It goes to show you that it's not as big of a gap as maybe people want to claim based on the legendary status that Jeter has built himself up to be. Um, Obviously, the war is higher for Lindor because it's considering defense as well. Lindor is massively a much better shortstop defensively than Jeter. I think that's
I
what
agree.
separates them. The power numbers, obviously, Lindor has them. The contact numbers, obviously, Jeter has them. The stolen base numbers, it favors Jeter as well. Yeah, it's a great comparison, though. Great post, bro.
I actually wanted to share an interesting opinion. I feel like the story that I see out of Francisco Lindor is that he hits a lot of home runs batting in the leadoff to the third hole. And I feel like that was something that Derek Jeter lacked, being that he used to bat one or two. He never really had a lot of power to be hitting as often as leadoff home runs as
Yeah,
Francisco Lindor has, which is why the power numbers are so high, but the RBIs are still nearly neck and neck.
yeah,
Now, two totally different players. The crazy thing I see about all of this is that if we were to have both players from both eras, let's say let's have a little bit of fun. Let's say 10 years from now,
yeah.
how baseball has been trending, I feel as though people will look at both of these players and they will value Francisco Lindor more than Derek Jeter, which is
Same.
crazy because now if you bring it back 20 years ago, you would probably value somebody like a Derek Jeter more,
Yeah,
which is crazy. But
yeah.
this is where baseball is heading. And I don't necessarily think it's a great thing. However, the greatness of Francisco Lindor does need to be talked about because in addition to this, you have some splits here that you wanted to go ahead and share to the people in terms of Lindor. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger for the viewers to see. And this is Lindor splits between Cleveland and the New York Mets. Francisco Lindor had 6 seasons with Cleveland. He had a 5.9 WAR through 162 games, 4 All-Star appearances, 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, and 3 top 10 finishes. One of which was a top 5 finish. And then with the Mets, he had a 5.9 WAR, 0 All-Star appearances, 0 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, and 3 top 10 finishes. One of which was in the top 3. Why is it that him being a Met for some strange reason He is not getting the love that he deserves. And this is why I wanted to bring upon it this episode. What is the stigma against Francisco Lindor?
I don't know, bro, but when you break the numbers down like that, it shows me that as great as he was in Cleveland, he's a better Met than as a Guardian, right? He has the same WAR in less years. He has three top 10 MVP finishes and one being a top three this year. He hasn't had that in Cleveland. He had a 30-30 season last year. He didn't have that in Cleveland. He had a 30 and 29 season this year. He didn't have that in Cleveland. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I feel like he's been robbed of Gold Gloves and he's been robbed of All Star appearances. I really don't know, bro.
He's been robbed of respect.
I don't know. And you would think coming to New York, his market would be even bigger. You would think the support would be even bigger. You would
The,
think there
the
would be
the
more
Jeter
hope.
biasness would come in to play a
Yeah,
little bit, you know?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. He's very marketable. He's very approachable. He's always smiling. He gives back to the community. He's always involved with kids, with the fans. I really don't know what it is, bro. I don't know if people are not voting enough. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's and I'm trying to look at it as like, like is it because the Mets haven't been that successful yet? Like what's going on? And I don't know. I just feel like he definitely deserves a lot more respect, a lot more notoriety. I think that is beginning to show, especially with this year. But I look at it as like, bro, what more did he have to do? What more did he have to do? The fact that he hasn't even had a Gold Glove as a Met to me is shocking. One can argue that he could have won the Gold Glove this year. One could argue he could have won the MVP for God's sake for this year for the NL. One can argue that his impact on the Mets is better than what Shohei Ohtani did on the Dodgers. But for some reason, this is concerning to me, and I wanted to go ahead and share this light. Yes, we are a Yankees and Mets podcast. Yes, I represent the Yankees fandom, but at the end of the day, you gotta give the credit where it's due. You gotta give the credit what is due. What more does Francisco Lindor need to do in order to have the notoriety that he deserves, being a New York Met?
And if I was him, like I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be depressed over it, but I would view certain writers and voters differently, and I'll probably feel away. You know why? Because at the end of the day, this is extra money that I could be getting and I'm not getting. You know, those are
Yeah,
incentives, those are bonuses to your contracts. Making X amount of All Star appearances, winning X amount of awards, like that matters, bro. At the end of the day, yeah, you're playing for a kid's game, but at the end of the day, money is money, bro. And if you're an athlete and you feel like you're as good as you are, you do not want to leave no money left on the table at the end of the day because these owners make tenfold much more than you. You know what I mean? So I don't
very
know.
well said. Very well said. Moving on to other controversial topics, one can say is that unfortunately the Tampa Bay Rays, due to the Hurricane Milton, their Tropicana field got shredded, and they have to relocate. Unfortunately, a lot sooner than what they thought. Now they are going to be opening up a new stadium within the next couple of years. I'm excited for that. But I guess not having a proper farewell for Tropicana Field. I've never been in that stadium, but I know it wasn't very well liked. Um, it is what it is. But here's my thing. If you're going to be playing in Tampa, if you are going to be playing in Tampa, you need to make sure that you have a stadium that is indoors because you are going to be dealing with a lot of rain. And for now, they claim that the Stadburner Field, the Yankees spring training facility, which is very close to Tropicana Field, I actually been to George M. Stadburner Field, is going to be the new home for them for the 2025 season. And they're paying the Yankees $25 million a year. Hopefully, that money goes into Juan Soto. But thoughts and opinions on the Tampa Bay Rays move? Thoughts and opinions on them going sharing the stadium with the Yankees? Did you like Tropicana Field? What's going on?
Well, for one, them giving the Yankees that much money, I believe I saw a report that it will be higher than any other player that they have in the current payroll.
That's crazy.
Okay, that's ridiculous, bro. But whatever. Um, I don't know, bro. I don't know if I feel comfortable with using the stadium of one of my division rivals that could probably have a competitive edge over me. Well, I'm hosting them and I'm paying them. You know, like it's tough. I feel like the MLB has an issue this year, especially in the next few years, because both the Rays and as we'll get to the Athletics, both will be playing in minor league stadiums. So my question to you is, or my thought is, let's say you worked all your life to be an MLB player, you grinded to the minor leagues, or you're international, you grinded, you got to the major leagues, you're dealing with major league, commercial flights, food, hotels, transportation, all the amenities that you would typically get in the MLB, being in the MLB, right? Now you kind of got to remove some of that element, but now sacrificing parts of your season to play in minor league ballparks. Let's say you're Aaron Judge or a superstar. Like, why would I want to play in a minor league stadium after I worked so hard to be in a major league stadium? Then on top of that, let's say it's a 3, 4 game set, right? Let's say you want to do something after the game, either in the morning or in the nighttime. What are you gonna do in a small town in the middle of nowhere in a minor league stadium? Like it's just bad. They don't have full capacity either. So I feel like at the end of the day, even if the race look at it as like, oh, we'll have our team playing, how much profit are you really making? Because if the Steinbrenner Field, how many people does it hold more or less? Like ten
Uh,
thousand, right?
yeah, like 10,000. So both stadiums, you mentioned it. You mentioned in one of the pictures that that you sent earlier is
Yeah.
that both of these stadiums fit less than 11,000. Less than 11,000 is a good is a good estimate.
How can you make profits with that with those numbers, as a majorly functioning organization? On top of paying a loan to the Yankees, on top of paying or another loan for a new stadium that you're trying to make, I just don't see how this is a positive revenue stream for this org. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
goes back to not paying your players. You see, it's a revolving door. I don't know, bro. I don't like it. I don't like it for baseball, to be honest, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of it, and I'm especially not a fan of how they've been treating the Oakland, well, the athletic franchise. So they're treating them like dirt. And it sucks because this is a team where, again, long history, great franchise, very storied franchise, and they're under the same situation as well, where they're going to be relocating into a different stadium as well, and that sucks, dude. And it's like they they took years out of the Oakland Coliseum. I mean, that stadium needed to be renovated anyway, and the fact that they didn't, and now for the next 3 years, rather than having to fill up a stadium, you know, treating that franchise with respect. No, they decide to relocate to Sacramento for the next 3 years out of Mountain League Ballpark, and this was by choice. This was not by accident, and that's the biggest difference out of the two. Is the
Yeah.
fact that this was definitely by choice, dude. If I'm not mistaken, I think the dugouts are in center field.
Oh my God.
Like, and this is a professional franchise. And what I thought was a lot more comical was the fact that they actually went after Walker Bueller after he just had a World Series run with the Dodgers. They went after Walker Bueller and wanting him to sign with them. And of course, he's gonna turn it down. Who's gonna want to sign up for that when you have 29 other major league franchises that are essentially treating their franchise with respect, with dignity? Why would anybody want to sign with the Oakland Athletic? I'm sorry, the Athletics now. It doesn't make any sense. Thoughts and opinions on that?
It just sucks for them too, bro, because I'm looking at a list. Did you know that the Athletics have the third most championships in Major League history? Like, we're talking about a legendary franchise that is being treated like this, bro. They have 9 World Series championships, bro, tied with the Red Sox, bro. Like, this is not just a small market team that has no success, no history, no players. Like, they've had amazing players, bro. And it's crazy how it's gotten to this point. They never invested in their stadium. They never invested in having a plan. The city of Oakland, I believe, declined for them to have a stadium. San Francisco already has a baseball team, so it is likely they weren't going to have two teams.
Yeah.
I just think this is embarrassing. I think they didn't have a proper plan with the Las Vegas plans. I believe it's 3 or 4 years away from that being built, a multi-billion-dollar stadium. I don't know, bro. They're gonna have to find a way, but it's gonna be a grind for these teams to travel to Sacramento, play in these conditions, travel to Tampa, play in these conditions. I don't like it, bro. And on top of that, like even with Tampa Bay, I think I sent you a report where they had an insurance policy and coincidentally, this past season, the policy got reduced. They didn't want to pay, I guess, a certain fee. So it got reduced from 100 million policy of insurance to 25 million. And then it just happens to be that they had back-to-back hurricanes a few months ago. So now that 25 million policy doesn't even cover the damages of the roof in the stadium. And that is also a factor as to why they're relocating in the meantime, because they're also working to get a new field. So I also read a report that the Tampa Bay Rays are having some issues with the city of Tampa because they
Hmm.
don't like that the Rays went to the Yankees minor league stadium because that's the Tampa County and they wanted them to stay in St. Petersburg because the stadium is in St. Petersburg
Oh my God, I didn't even know. And but the thing is that they're called the Tampa Bay Rays.
for the metro area.
Okay, that I understood. I
But
know
it's
I know the politics right now in in the state of well, in the state of Florida in general is going through a lot right now, but in particularly I know the politicians with Tampa is it's been getting ugly there because of the Rays. They're part of it too. They're
And
used as
then
collateral.
and then on top of that, with the races, they're playing in Tampa Bay County, not St. Petersburg right now. There was like discussion of like how much is St. Petersburg willing to pay for the new stadium. Like this is like these ongoing conversations. It's like it's a lot of politics involved. I just think it's just bad for baseball. Players and teams shouldn't have to deal with this. The owners they gotta do right, bro. The owners have to spend, bro. And that's an issue that it starts on the top, bro. MLB has to get their hands involved in this because this cannot be happening, bro.
And I wanna you this is a perfect segue. Excuse me. This is a perfect segue to our next and our last topic, and that is the revenue in which these owners and these teams have made, and whether or not they're reinvesting it into their franchise. If you look at this list right now, it seems as though a lot of the money that's coming in the Mets is getting reinvested into their payroll. But then
Yeah,
if you look towards the bottom of the list, and this is the most interesting thing, is that the two teams that we mentioned are going to be in minor league stadiums. In the 2024 payroll, the Athletics had 84 million invested into their team, and their Rays were at 100 million. Right? Their revenue, their revenue that they've put in has been below 35%. They're in the bottom of the franchises, the bottom. And now these are the two teams that are going to be in minor league stadiums.
well, they are the bottom two teams. God damn, bro.
That's the crazy thing. And if you look at the teams, like for example, the Mets, the Blue Jays are a team that no matter what's going on with the contracts and with the networks and the telecasts and everything and all the MLB rights, the Blue Jays are going to be good. The Mets, the Yankees, they're going to be good because they own their networks. But if you look at the team like the I'm sorry, the Athletics and the Rays, like they're not investing into the team at all, at all.
Yeah, I feel like if you look at the Rays for example, you look at the Rays, they're making three times as much as they're investing in their players. And you can kind of almost say the same for the Athletics. It's like, damn, so where does that money go? Because you're not renovating your stadium, you're not upgrading your stadium, you're not bringing new staff, you're not signing players. So where's the money going? You know what I mean? Like, is the owners just pocketing this and doing the bare minimum to justify, hey, we're gonna still own this team, and as long as we compete and go for a 500 season as a win, I just think this is a bad message to your fan base, bro. And
I
it's a
agree.
slap in the face.
And another franchise that I want to go ahead and mention that a lot of people tend to not really mention, that's the Miami Marlins. They're ranked number 22 on this list. Their payroll last in 2023 was nearly 300 million, and their payroll cut down immensely, 150 million, what it looks like. And they're not reinvesting into that franchise, and one has to wonder what is it that they're doing. And the Mets, I feel like a lot of what the Mets do is as of right now is that they're reinvesting into their team with the revenue that they create, but a lot of the players that they want is going to be coming out of Steve Cohen's pockets. It's not
Yeah.
going to be coming out of the Mets pockets. But
Hmm.
I respect that. Why? Because this is the owner that knows what he wants, and at the end of the day, I mean, he has a boatload of money, boats
Yeah.
load, oceans full of money, So that's not a concern compared to
Yeah.
the rest of the owners. But this is a competitive business, man. I would like for them to, take upon that approach, but business is business. They want to be able to invest into these players and hopefully they could get a little bit something out of it. But it is what it is, man. Any other, final notes that you want to discuss on this episode before we wrap it up?
Yeah, something fun, real quick, short. Out of this list of teams that you mentioned, what are 3 to 5 teams that you will absolutely hate to play for, based on their current standing, based on their
Athletics
ownership?
number one. They just don't
Okay.
invest. The Tigers, I just feel like I'm just not a fan of that ballpark being so big. I feel like the Angels make a lot of stupid decisions with their finances. Look at the contract that they've had, even though the likes of Mike Trout hasn't even worked out, even though it's not their fault. But Anthony Rendon and so on, they just historically have not had good luck with contracts. If you look at the Josh Hamiltons, the Albert Pujols, it just hasn't worked out for them. Um, let me see. More recently, the Boston Red Sox because they have been cheap, but now it looks as though they're turning over the corner. And then lastly, the Reds because I'm a big fan of the Reds. I've always have been. Ken Griffey Jr. was one of my favorite players ever, but it is a relatively cheap franchise. I love the ballpark. I love the history, but I just know that if I play for that team, I'm probably gonna be ending up elsewhere. And I'm
Okay.
sorry, the White Sox. They're up for sale. Jerry Randolph, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. He's cheap with the Bulls. He's cheap with the White Sox. He's cheap.
I
So
think there's a correlation there with both teams sucking right now, bro.
Yeah,
Take
yeah, and it's
ownership, you
just
know?
and like I get it. Like sometimes you try to sell the team, but I don't know. What about you? What are your five teams?
Well, I share some of your picks. The Rays. I wouldn't mind playing for. Well, besides what's happening now with the stadium, I wouldn't mind playing for them only at least as a rookie, like my rookie years, because I know that's a place where I can probably play competitive ball, maybe compete for the playoffs
All
and
right,
raise
great
my
development.
value. Like as we've seen with like Matt Garza, Paul Crawford, B.J. Upton, etc. You know.
Right.
But the Athletics, I wouldn't want to play for them. The Tigers, I would not want to play for them. The stadium is a big factor. I also dislike their jerseys. Like they gotta change that look, bro. They need to rebrand. Um, the Marlins, I wouldn't want to play for them, even though it's Miami. But I just feel like they have a losing culture, and I don't want to be a part of that. The White Sox, that's a definite no. And if I had to pick one more, the Angels. I would hate to play for the Angels. I feel like there's just bad luck and vibes in that team.
There is. There is. No, very, very, very fun question. Make sure you guys go ahead and comment below what are your five teams that you guys would like to least play for, and tell us the reasons why. So pick five teams. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching episode 28. We just want to do a little fun one. We have a lot of news coming out in terms of the MLB. We have the winter minis around the corner. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and X as well. We're gonna be posting a lot more going into the off season. And yeah, anything else?
Thank you guys. Please subscribe, comment, share, give us your thoughts, opinions. DM us if you want to see a certain topic be brought up and we could get to it. Thank you guys for your time. This is a fun one. Another episode, another day. This is Gilbert. That's Coven. You know.